I'm going to introduce the first of our two featured readers this afternoon. Pauline Sewards has read with Dodo before. She lives in Bristol. She's a co-host of Satellite of Love Poetry and Spoken Word in Bristol. She's been published widely in small press magazines, including South Bank Poetry, and online, including Rigwelter magazine. But now she's got her first her debut collection out. Copies on sale over here. And it's called This Is the Band, published by Hearing Eye. So we're delighted to have...
you must buy it.
Yeah. Okay, the customer speaks. Completely unprompted. So please give a big welcome to, all the way from the West Country, Pauline Sewards.
I'm really thrilled to be reading here. I'm just going to make sure I don't go over. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you, Patrick. I'm going to read a poem for the area. This is based on a book by Barry Miles, all about London culture, and it's called Nina Hammett's Dress, and she was an artist and model who lived somewhere around here. Nina Hammett's Dress, after Barry Miles. In the early days, before the war, yes, the first one, darling, she didn't have much use for me. I watched from the coat stand while her limbs and face were drawn, painted, exaggerated, elongated by Robert Fry and Modigliani. Later, as the sunlight filtered through the slatted studio shutters, her limbs were drawn all over again with fingertips and kisses. I waited to be needed. I was not bright or showy, but I was expensive and well made. Yet she treated me badly, splattered oils that formed a dark contusion on my chest. She took me out in winter time, hidden below her naphthalene furs, her berries set at a jaunty slant as she toured the bar stools of Fitzrovia. In a foxed Venetian mirror, I saw my skirts grow shabby as she rattled her tobacco tin for money in exchange for stories of that glamorous life before the war. Careless with her gin, she soaked me often as she trilled her unrefusable request. "Got any money, hun? Got any money, hun?" Surprisingly, she had retained enough joie de vivre to cast me off at night while she scrabbled with a lover and the mice beneath her greying sheets. She let my seams burst out. My hooks and eyes were unreplaced. Her belly swelled with alcohol and I grew out of shape. On January the 1st, she took me to the cleaners, delivered me with shaking hands. She was making a fresh start, no more booze. But by the time she collected me, she was back on the sauce. The sweating and the waking dreams had proved too hard, and I was ruined. The gin had worn my threads into a spoonful of dust. This is quite a long one as well. This is kind of in honour of the NHS, and it's like a day at work, so it is quite lengthy. Blood Wednesday at the Clozapine Clinic. Saul jokes that he returns at midnight to drink the surplus blood. Deborah looks at him with manga eyes. She laughs, says her blood is sweet but never free. Students are quizzing nurses about blood, psychosis, platelets, cells, the gauge of needles. Why does blood come in a multitude of shades? In a centrifuge, vials of new blood homogenise prior to analysis. Saul speculates that anemic blood is lighter red, darker, rich in iron, but sometimes the colour of blood just varies. He tunes a radio to Heart FM, Relaxing improves blood flow. In every home, a heartbeat. Mike is here to get his blood done. He says it soon comes round this time each month, Blood Wednesday. His briefcase is packed full with dry cleaning. Blood spilled on his shirt last time. His veins run deep, makes his blood hard to take. Only Saul gets in first time. Practice on a blood orange makes perfect. Tighten a tourniquet around the arm. Blood pumps vein. Fingers palpate a rubber ridge. Insert needle. Blood flashback in the tube in slow, deoxygenated flow. Push in a blood collection tube to make a vacuum, creating speedy force of blood. Loose the tourniquet, sliding the needle out. Apply pressure. Blood could make a bruise. Saul says he loves to work here with blood. On the walls it is serious and focused. Here, as long as all the bloods get done, you can be yourself. In this clinic, take, not give. Blood isn't everyone's cup of tea. You have to chill yourself out so the blood will flow. Cuts in the NHS undermine always. See this new blood-stained sculpture beside the sink? Uncollected sharp spins. Blood sampling is threatened by a shortage of needles. Each week, blood gets harder to take. Today, the water has been turned off and blood stays on our hands. Each week, more work, less time to take blood. Saul says they work us right down to the bone. They want our blood. This is Family and Private Life Immigration Rule Changes, 9th July 2012. The Venn diagram of transcultural love has no full intersections. A spouse is not a spouse, but is a potentially non-economically active burden on the state. Hearts become coins, become cherries in a fruit machine. There are no winning lines. Nothing adds up. Love conquers nothing, counts for nothing. Meanwhile, your child is free to live in any country, to roam the world, not tethered by parents or papers. You knew freedom once, but did not appreciate it. I'm just going to finish this half with a really tiny one, which is much less stressful. Brighton. If cities were the schools in which we learned, you were a town learning to become a city. Oceans bubble, shoals of lovers dancing through the all-night streets, loose-haired and ankle-chained to the hedonistic puzzle. Yay!
Thank you, Pauline, and Pauline will be back in the second half. Now.